Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, where you guys are. We're still waiting on Gooch, but life would be really
Per
strange if we
usual.
weren't waiting on him. We are live. Yes, Aaron, we are live. Tonight, we are actually going to watch for the first time, for the two of us anyway. I know Gooch has watched a lot of it, but for Aaron and I, this is going to be the first time we watch Tyreek's podcast. So
All
this
I've
will
seen is what Steve put out on here for us.
right. And all I've seen is like a couple pieces on Twitter here and there. So you're going to get us reacting to it live. That's what this episode is going to be. So we'll be pausing and we'll be giving our thoughts after we hear what Tyreek, his agent, and his lawyer have to say. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to hit the intro and do this officially. And there's Brian.
Yes.
So here we go. We're going to hit the intro.
Y'all ready for them Chiefs? Y'all ready for them Chiefs?
All right. Awesome. So, you guys just want to get into it? Should we just get started?
Yeah.
Morning,
Holly.
boys. Morning.
Hey,
Hey, Bri.
Gooch. All right. We'll see how this goes, guys. This is a brand new experience for me. So, I think this will work. We're going to try it anyway.
We
If
got
not-
Maui and Holly so far.
If not, I guess we'll figure out another way to do it or just do some kind of different live stream. So,
It is live, Holly.
yep, we are absolutely live.
Hi, Holly.
We just started, and you're going to see me and Steve at least react for the first time.
Trying to get this. I had it perfect.
Gooch, you've watched quite a bit of it.
I have in between turning it off because Tyreek was making me mad.
Well, I
He
don't
was
have
made here.
I don't have high hopes just from the teaser and a couple like 30 clips that I've seen on YouTube. So anyway, you guys want me to pause it at a certain point. You just like I guess wave your hand or something, and I'll pause it and we'll react to that part. And of course, I'll let myself know I'm ready to react. So I'm guessing we're not going to get very far into this, right?
Probably not. Definitely don't need to hear any of that.
I don't know if it needed to be said. We should have named this one It Needs to Be Rebutted.
What was that, Gooch?
We should have called this one It Needs to Be Rebutted.
Let me see if I can turn this down. Maybe we can just talk over a little bit if we have to.
Are we supposed to be hearing it?
Can you guys?
I'm not hearing anything.
Silence on my end.
What was that?
Neither of us are hearing it.
Okay. Let me try something real quick. You try something new, there's always going to be something that pops up.
Well, I was kind of done talking about Tyreek, but this seemed like a really good idea. With what little I saw that Steve posted, I was like, yeah, and then somebody was asking us to do it in the chat on our GR, so we decided to do a surprise live.
Right.
Gooch and Steve did anyway. I'm just here for the ride. So yeah, you're gonna see the rough.
All right, I got an idea. Why don't we, do we have any chat that you guys want to hit? Idea how to make this work, maybe. All right, you guys chat. I'm going to try to go to work here.
Mine keeps muting. Did you hear any of what I was saying about Tyreek to you, Holly? Because mine kept muting and unmuting. So yeah, I have watched next to nothing, but it was asked for in the RGR chat, so we decided to go ahead and have a special live, surprise live. The guys try to include me since I work late. So you're going to see the visceral reaction from me and Keys. That guy Bry has watched most of it, so. He's talking about rebuttal, so I'm guessing there's some arguments to be made. Have you watched it all, Holly, Maui? Or did you keep turning it off like Gooch did? These guys have the same avatar. I'll show you mine. I am sitting in front of Dustin Colquitt's locker in that picture. It was a work function. He was the Chiefs MVP for a few years there. Till we got Alex Smith in. Okay. Well, you can tell us your gut reaction when you saw certain things when we did too. Kind of play along. We'll have to get Holly in on one of these anyway. My back is killing me.
All right, we're going to try this again. Let's see if this works. You guys let me know if you hear sound when I play this now.
I don't hear nothing.
Okay, let it be known.
You got sound?
I'm hearing it, yes.
Gooch, you got sound?
All day long, brother.
All right.
I'm working hard when I ain't on the phone. This ain't a home, this ain't a phone. Grind never stopping, I'm keeping it cold. Unlocking the door with the holy key. You supposed to be this close to me, and hopefully you understand G.O.D. Make me this cold, and I'm talking like no degrees.
You can fast forward through that crap.
What's up, guys? Welcome to It Needed to Be Said This is Tyreek Hill, and I'm sitting here with my co-host, Mr. Julius Collins. Guys, welcome to the show, man. This is the first time we are doing this. This is about to be special, man. Guys, coming on to the show today, we're going to have Drew Rosenhaus. But before we get to Drew Rosenhaus, I want to introduce my co-host. My co-host is not only my lawyer, but he's also a good friend of mine, a best friend of mine. So, Julius, if you don't mind, take the mic away and introduce yourself.
Man, I appreciate that introduction. Julius Collins, man, attorney Julius Collins, the law office of JB Collins. I'm fresh out of Atlanta, fresh out of Buckhead. I got a call from Tyreek, the Cheetah Man. Been knowing him now for a while. Came on as his lawyer, and we knocked everything out.
I just want to say, because I think we've all seen the trailer, right? I remember the comments about the co-host when we saw the trailer, and it boggles my mind that the person that asked the absolutely moronic question that got everybody heated up is a lawyer. That's all I got to say on that. Sorry, you think of lawyers as smart people.
Not just a lawyer, his lawyer.
I don't even care for the guy already. He didn't even have to say lawyer.
I guess in my mind, I always thought of lawyers as smart people. So either he's not that smart, or a lot of people's arguments in defending Tyreek about, well, it was the co-host that asked it. It's his lawyer. Clearly, there's something there. Either I have to believe he's an idiot, or I have to believe that, they all knew what was going on and what questions were going to be asked. Sorry, I'm a minute in and we're already reacting, right?
The part that we was working on. I think that goes without saying, right?
Oh, for sure, man, for sure.
We knocked it out the park. That's why you putting in that work, right? But no, man, I appreciate you calling me on, giving me this opportunity, and we're gonna knock it out, man.
It's gonna be a blast, man, because anything that the cheetah does, the cheetah's gonna do it the cheetah way, and that's fast, and that's look good, play good, feel good, and just like the Dolphins did me, they paid me good. So with that being said, Drew, how you feeling? It looks like you were in a station wagon. Drew. So Drew, how you doing, man? How you living?
Doing great, Cheetah. Great to speak with you and Julius.
What was that, Aaron?
So he looks good knocking balls up in the air to be intercepted.
All right. I haven't seen this, but does Drew do this whole interview in a car with his daughter in the back seat?
Yes, he does.
Is that to try to
Agent?
Is that to try to add a human element, or what are we going for here?
I think Drew's just showing that he's on his way to rob another team and get a lot of money for his name.
Sorry, guys.
Is that his agent?
Yeah.
I'm on the road in Connecticut with my family. I didn't want to miss your broadcast here, so I'm doing this as we drive from Yale University to...
Wait a minute. Okay, I take it they're on a trip, but you can clearly see that his daughter doesn't have a seatbelt on in the back seat, and she's like, does everybody else see this?
Illegal.
LaGuardia Airport. So good to be on with you guys, and everything's going well today.
Well, Drew, I just got one thing to say, man. You are probably one of the best men I know in my life, and you are truly a trailblazer for just doing this for me, and just also having a family in the background, man. So shout out to you, team dad, girl dad, and let's get this show on the road, man.
Let me just say, Tyreek, I appreciate the kind words. It's, I consider you to be a future Hall of Famer, and without a doubt, one of the most electrifying players that's ever played in the NFL. This is my 35th year as an NFL agent, and I've never represented a more talented guy than you. And we've got a bunch of clients in the Hall of Fame. So the is mutual. One of the things I love about working with Tyreek is he's a family man. I've gotten to know his kids, his parents, his grandparents.
Oh, thank you, Drew. Thank you.
For not only is Tyreek a Hall of Fame player, he's a Hall of Fame person. Julius, you can attest to this. And
sure,
I've always said to Tyreek that not only is he the...
I think he's going to have a tough time making it to the Hall of Fame now.
Yeah.
If he stayed, maybe, or he's almost definitely Hall of Fame. But now that he's leaving, there's no way. I don't think.
Well, he might get force fed the ball enough that, he might end up breaking what is it
He
Michael
has all kinds of
Thomas's?
stats.
Is it Michael Thomas that has like the single season receiving record? Gooch.
People just triple team him.
Single season yardage record because I think
Receptions.
Reception.
Yeah, it's Thomas.
Yeah, because Tyreek set his career high with the Chiefs last year, and that wasn't enough, right? That's what I've seen in the short clip is that they complain about.
How many was it?
So
I think it's like 120 something, isn't it?
No, Thomas is up to 100, and, almost 40 catches. I think it ended up being like 130 something.
I thought it was like over 150.
It's probably
All right.
time to look that up.
I'll play it and I'll look it up here.
The fastest guy in the NFL, but he's also got the biggest heart, and that's a rare combination. He's the cheetah and he's the teddy bear. He's both of those.
Drew, you want to know what's crazy, man? When I was growing up, my mom used to.
What's that, Aaron?
149.
That's the record?
Yeah. Good Lord. Yeah, there's no way he hits that. He'll pop it up in the air.
Hey, boys, we're reacting to this. We're not trying to compare stats right now.
Always tell me my biggest strength will always be my biggest weakness. So my biggest strength is my.
I thought I was getting my floors clean.
Sorry,
Then I
guys.
learned my mop could be loaded with bacteria. So I got a Swiffer wet jet to get a cleaner clean. The spray.
Yeah, we can talk during the commercial. I tried to download the video. It didn't work.
In case you're wondering, Back Talk Bros is sponsored by Swiffer Wet Jet and
Old Spice.
Old Spice.
I'm sure Gooch is an old man. I'm sure you use that a lot, just like my grandpa did.
And I'm always caring for
Old
people and
Spice.
people, always running over me and stuff like that. So I'm like you said, man, I'm always do what I can for people, but sometimes that can also be a weakness of mine also, man, just caring for people, so. But anyways, man.
Tyreek, it's impressive.
Does he have
that
cowboy
you
boots
acknowledge
on?
that, and that's real life. And,
Right.
People don't realize that even somebody as successful as you're the highest paid
Hey, wait a minute. Where'd the family go?
non-quarterback in the NFL. With all that success also comes a lot of pressure, a lot of requests, a lot of
This is what it's like for my wife to
and
watch
it's
TV with me.
impossible to make everybody happy.
Aaron
all
Donald
the
is the
time,
highest paid quarterback.
and you definitely try your very best every single day to do things the right way, and you're a man of character and integrity, and we can't control other people, but we can control what we do, and you're to be commended for all the fine work that you do with your foundation, all the money that you raise through your charities,
Right.
The commitment that you make to young people. People don't realize you were a volunteer high school coach last season.
Man, look.
There in Kansas City, just
At my
being a wide
alma
receiver
mater.
coach. And you took your valuable time to do that. We
Got
could
to.
be here all day. I've shown up where
Got to. Hey, that's
You
what I
helped a
do,
lot of
man.
people,
You got to
Tyreek.
volunteer, man. Like, you got to give back to the game, man. Like, if that's one thing I've learned, like, I know my time is gonna come and go, but I'm gonna always try to find ways to give back to the game of football, man, because I love this game so much, man. My dad taught me the game, his dad taught him the game. So, and the way I look at it is my purpose in life is to teach the ones up under me, not only my kids, but the younger generation, the game of football, because if you really love the game, if you're really passionate about the game, you want to see the game continue to grow beyond you, so that's the way I look at it, man. But Drew, before we go, there's one quote or there's one question that I want to ask you, but before we move on,
Sure.
if you don't mind me asking, and the only thing I need is a yes or no. If you could live forever, would you live forever? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now you got to follow up with why.
I feel like my
Hey, no,
thumbnail
I
now is
mean,
very appropriate.
I guess that's it. Like that. I
Yeah.
mean,
Now,
I really can't. But
if you
the way,
you want me to articulate on that? I'll tell you why.
nah. I'm gonna tell you this, and this the way, and this is the way that I live my life. You know,
Weird
there's
question.
something, Larry King.
What was that, Aaron?
That's a weird question.
Right. I was just thinking, if I had one question to ask Drew Rosenhaus, would it be that? No. But yeah.
I'd also like to point out real quick that all that giving back and stuff like that, the Chiefs have that installed in their contract.
Yeah, that's true. There's a good extent to that. That's just standard part of their contract.
Right. You have to do community stuff. You have to do, this, that, and the other. It's not like a lot of these guys, you're not giving back because you want written into your contract. You know what I'm saying? Because it's part of But okay, I'm done talking.
And then how many people is he an agent for? He's got a ton, right?
Oh, he's across all sports, bro.
Yeah.
Hockey, baseball,
So
basketball.
why is he acting like they're such close personal friends?
Because he just got, 15% of $30 million a year.
Now Drew was
acting for that too.
he was the agent to T.O., right?
Yep.
Was he AB's agent?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm sensing a pattern here.
He keeps great company.
I'm curious though.
What does he care? He's filthy rich.
But do players with a certain personality trait pick Drew, or do players that pick Drew start to Drew starts getting in their head? That's my question.
Well, we know how
Or
low
both.
his standards are for morality and.
Well, hey, now we're talking about a family man who had his whole family in the car until they disappeared like 10 seconds later. And then Tyreek, who's done all these great things. I was waiting for them to bust open a duet there.
He was talking about his integrity and everything. His standards are not very high if that's the company he keeps. Antonio Brown.
Right.
Is
Was
Deshaun
asked, and
Watson's
we
as
all know
well?
who Larry King is. He's
What's that?
Is he Deshaun Watson's as well?
I have no idea.
I don't know about that one.
I'll have to look it up. I'll be listening to more.
the famous television host.
Right.
Right. Larry King was asked if you could live forever, would you live forever? And Larry King clearly said yes.
Right.
And the dude who asked him that said, okay.
Well, we have the answer to why he asked that question, and we have the answer to our question, no. David Mulugeta, I don't know if I'm saying that right, is Deshaun Watson's agent, and he represents, among other players, Michael Thomas and Kyle Pitts. So, answer to that question as well.
He said, it is my knowledge that I'm going to die that creates the focus of being alive, right?
Right.
The urgency of accomplishment, the need to express the love, not now. If we could live forever, why ever get out of bed? Because if you could live forever,
There's no urgency.
there's no urgency, bro.
You got infinite amount of time to accomplish anything you want to do.
Amount of time to do whatever you want to, man. So that's the way I look at life, man. If I could live forever, I'd definitely say no, man. Because, man, look, each and every day is an opportunity for me to get out my bed and to be great and be better than who I was the day before, dog. And that's the way I look at life. But Drew, what about you, man?
I love that philosophy, Tyreek, and you are a driven individual, and you make every day count.
Right.
And everything you said is extremely articulate and right on. I guess the way I looked at it was, I have found so much joy from the simple things in life, from looking at my son smile, my kids laugh. I guess I could do that forever, man. They're grandkids, and to me, the love that you have from your family is something that you just can't get enough of. And I wish I
Unconditional
could
love,
be here
man.
forever for them. And obviously, I guess that's just, to me, love is just so special. It's something that I wish I could do for all eternity, if that makes sense.
But I got a question for you.
Um,
But if you could wake up every day and just knowing that you could have your kids' love every day and just to see your son's face every day, would you get out of your bed every day? Just to see your son smile, just to be around your family every day, because every day that you wake up, you're gonna be alive and you're gonna be around your kids.
Right.
Because
yeah,
now,
I mean, I think what you guys had to say is really valuable, because if you have something for eternity or forever, you really don't appreciate it, and there isn't that special
there you go.
sense of time and
Yeah, sure. I'm guessing that
What was
comment was that Gooch? Is that you, Gooch?
Yes, yes.
being precious. So yeah, listen, you guys really taught me something today that I think is extremely valuable. That, you know what, the fact that we can't live forever is really what makes life so special. We live to max it out, probably because we know it can be taken away at any time.
Man.
And that's something that I have a lot of respect for. I will tell you that, hypotheticals aside, I live my life to the fullest every day, because I know it's not going to be forever. And, in my mind, you get a chance and you have an opportunity with your life and you need to take advantage of it. I for one, agree with you, Tyreek, that this world is all about giving back and helping others and teaching others and passing along what the lessons in life that you've learned. And obviously knowing that life is something that we could lose at any time, it certainly is an incentive to make the most of it.
Right.
I hate to break up
I
y'all.
know.
Hey, that was very sentimental,
That
Drew.
was very sentimental.
Like,
Y'all just went deep.
that was deep.
I hate to break up
So-
Luke Skywalker and Yoda moment. But let's go into it this way.
That was deep right there, Drew.
Drew,
rolling.
when you saw Tyreek
Yeah,
perform,
it was.
when you first saw Tyreek perform at the combine, even before then, I know you do your homework, Drew. I've been around you enough to know you did your homework before you went and you actually seen him. What made you want to sign Tyreek Hill? In that moment, what out of all the players you represented, all the talent you've seen, what about Tyreek made you want to sign him?
Tyreek is probably a once in a generation talent.
Oh, thank you.
So we're not going to see another guy like him, probably in our lifetime. I think Tyreek has a skill set that is unique to him, that comes around
It's called fast.
every generation, and I recognize that in him. I mean, he's just not just another great football player, all pro, but he has a skill set that I think is unlike anyone that's ever played in the NFL. And it's not just his speed; he's a tremendous competitor. He's a complete receiver. He'll run every route. He takes a great deal of pride.
You already got
in
your bunny,
winning.
bro.
I just recognize, Julius, that Tyreek was just a very unique talent and person. And as an agent, you're lucky to work with someone like that comes around once every few decades. I think Tyreek is the most explosive player that's ever played in the history of the NFL, and I'm not sure there'll be another guy that has his unbelievable characteristics. So
Hey, give it 10 years. My son will be there.
I think years from now in posterity, people will be talking about Tyreek as one of the greatest players to ever play in the NFL, and he's leaving quite a legacy off the field as well, which I'm extremely proud of. I've seen a lot of the adversity that Tyreek's had to go through in his career. It's not like he was a first-round pick right out of the gate, was the first pick of the draft. I mean, things weren't easy for him, and yet he always competed and battled and made the most of his life and his opportunities. And, you got to have a tremendous respect for the competitor in him and someone that doesn't give up. And
Right.
So I had to look it up. Tyreek signed Drew as his agent in October 2017. So he had a whole year in. Yeah, I mean, it's not like Drew saw him in college and was like, oh, yeah, you know, this guy's got special speed or something.
Right.
If Drew had been his agent, he probably wouldn't have gotten drafted in the 5th. I mean, maybe the 4th or 3rd instead.
I just said that nobody was touching Tyreek after OSU. So Drew didn't look at him and go, oh, I got to have that guy. He was untouchable. The Chiefs took a chance on him.
Right. The Chiefs very much took a chance on him by drafting him. Took a chance on him with his second contract as well, even though they definitely had some security for themselves in that one. But it was a whole Tyreek had a whole season plus what a month and a half of games into his second season, which I think is when they really transitioned him, you know, gave him time as a receiver anyway. So, I mean, take it for what it's worth.
Well, this guy already got his money, right?
Right.
Then why is he still up his butt?
Example, you know.
Night Hunter, welcome in.
Hey, how you doing, Matt?
People don't realize Tyreek was a 5th round pick.
Right.
And he overcame a lot of adversity in college and the NFL to get to where he is today as the highest paid non-quarterback. That's an accomplishment.
Second highest paid non-quarterback.
That's an historical accomplishment that he earned.
Well,
not only through his hard work and talent, but through his heart and his determination.
Well, Drew, a lot of that, man, is just my parents, man, just implementing me every day, just putting it inside of my brain that I got to be different. You know, as a kid, you know, there are a bunch of people in the South Georgia, you know, who can play football, right? And we know that. Like, there's tons of talent in South Georgia, you know. But what really made me different was just my attitude, man, and just my mindset and just my approach about, you know, me just wanting to be different, you know. So I wanted to go to a big D1, you know. So I couldn't. Wasn't A's or B's, or my GPA wasn't where it needed to be.
Right.
You know, so I was like, look, I got to sacrifice this. I got to sacrifice that. So I went to JUCO, and then once I went to JUCO, man, I got my grades right, man. And then obviously I could play football. So the rest is history, man. You know, so I like just being that ultimate competitor, man, being feisty, being a small guy who can play receiver, who can block, who can put guys on their behinds at any time. Like I'm talking about linebackers. I'm putting linebackers on their behind. Like,
I got to see the clip, man.
I
gotta find
I'm
the
trying
clip.
to tell you, I'm different, man. Like I compete different, man. Like,
for sure.
And I don't fear nobody. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, the way I look at it is every man bleeds, and every man is gonna die the same way you're gonna die. So.
Speaking of which, I'm glad you transitioned to that. You said you're smaller than a lot of guys. The traditional receiver, the traditional DK Metcalf, Ocho Cinco.
Right.
But we saw a rebound DK Metcalf in South Georgia this weekend.
Oh yeah, man.
But no, you're smaller than all of them. So talk about how was that transition, right? I know in high school you played almost every position. I know in college you pretty much did any and everything you wanted to do on the field.
Right.
But how was that transition? Because if I'm not mistaken, whenever you went to the Chiefs, you went in on special teams, right?
Correct.
Talk about that work ethic. You know, you and Drew, and he's seen it as well. And so many players, like that work ethic to go from special teams to the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL today.
Man, look, check this out. When I first got drafted by the Chiefs, man, they had a receiver there named Jeremy Maclin, right? So Jeremy Maclin was a dude. He was an icon to me, legend to me. I was like, J Mac from the Philadelphia Eagles? I used to play with him on Madden all the time, right? So look, J-Mac, man, was the coolest dude I know. Still one of the coolest dude I know. Talked to him recently. Shout out to J-Mac, man, coaching the high school team in Kirkwood. Yeah. You know, I would basically copy everything he would do.
Right.
You know, but in my head, I'm like, I'm finna take his dude's spot. I'm better than you. I'm faster than you. I'm younger than you.
You just shot him out and the whole time you was gunning fun?
Nah, like real talk though. Like
motivation.
That's my mindset though.
Right.
Like that.
Right.
You remember what I told you? My grandparents, they always taught me, if you not one, then some not giving. You got to be number one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So everything that J Mac would have the receivers do, even if some of the other receivers wouldn't show up, the workouts to bowling to skating, whatever the case may be, the running, I'm there. Everything J Mac doing, I'm doing. I'm copying everything that he do. You know what I'm saying? But I'm doing more. You know what I'm saying? So then it came time, after that 1 year with the Chiefs ended up letting J Mac go.
Right.
And then I ended up taking the spot. So I had learned everything from J Mac, man. Then I added my own little thing to it. I added my own little twist to it.
You had a lot twist to
Well,
it.
Yeah, I had a
You
lot
had
of twist to it, man.
So how was that though? Even Drew, as an agent, Drew, have you ever seen anything that insane to come from college, right? West Alabama, right? To go fifth round, and then just take over the NFL. Have you ever seen that transition from special teams to the highest paid receiver?
I think, a lot of people in history will look at.
Does anybody know why Jeremy Maclin got cut? Because I was pissed about that, and I'm pretty sure that's why he got fired. John Dorsey was when he cut Maclin.
Man, I don't remember that at all.
Which, yeah, we could have had a really good receiving core if we kept Maclin on that year.
Hands were suspect at the end.
I don't think so.
I don't know, man. I got a lot of kids, so my memory is terrible.
Wait.
My memory goes to other stuff.
I don't think it was his hands. I think it was his separation.
I could see that.
And Alex is, because Alex was still his quarterback. Alex is, he needs some separation. He doesn't need a lot. But you got to be able to give him a window to throw the ball.
Maclin would fight for it some, though. He's not Anquan Bolden, but who is?
Speaking of memory, I paused that because I had something to say, but I forget what I was going to say now.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I took advantage of you pausing it. That's where my head was Maclin, though.
It might come to me. Oh, that's what I was gonna ask. What do you guys think if Tyreek hadn't had the issues that he had? Right, he was at Oklahoma State, right? I believe it was Oklahoma State, wasn't it, Gooch?
Yeah, it was OSU.
Right. And let's be clear, it wasn't academic issues that he ended up at West Alabama. Well, that could have been part of the issues too. He could have been on his way there. But anyway, if none of that had happened and he'd stayed at OSU, where do you think, what kind of college career do you think he would have had, and what round do you think he could have been drafted in?
Second, easy.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me. I know he had some hype, but
he had hype because
he was so fast.
Right, but he was basically DeAnthony Thomas. They didn't use him at receiver much.
Right.
They put him in the backfield. They let him catch a couple bubble screens, but mostly he was a kick and punt returner.
He played quite a bit of running back too, didn't
he? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I
mean. Not mostly.
Yep.
I think a lot of people historically will look at Tyreek as a fifth-round pick and say it was one of the greatest fifth-round picks ever, just like people look at Tom Brady going in the sixth round and commenting that he was the sixth-round pick. I do think that Tyreek is one of the great success stories, especially when you consider where he was drafted and what he's accomplished. And the best is yet to come because, he's been a world champion in Kansas City. He's played in 4 straight home AFC Championship games, and now Tyreek has the amazing challenge of going to a new team and a young quarterback and helping the Dolphins, who haven't been in the playoffs in many years, become a winning team.
Right.
And become a winning organization. I'm excited for Tyreek because this is going to be a great challenge for him and an exciting opportunity. And I know he's gonna make a huge impact on this team, both on the field and off the field.
Right.
So I got a question.
And that's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Oh yeah, for sure, Drew.
So I got a question.
Thanks for the insight.
Kansas City Chiefs draft you, right?
Right.
You go over there, you ball out, right? How was your time in Kansas City? I definitely want both of you all to chime in on that because Drew, I know you went to a lot of the games.
Thank you, Knight. Make sure you guys hit the like if you like it. Share, let someone else know about this if you know anyone who's still awake.
I know, Tyreek, I came to some of the games and I seen the transition. So how was your time in Kansas City?
You want the first 4 years or you want the last year I just played?
I want
last year was crazy.
I want the first 4, and then on the last year,
okay,
it needs to be said.
Okay, I'm gonna give you the first 4 years, real rap, man. First 4 years, it was great, man.
Right.
You know, I came in as a rookie, played with Alex Smith, one of the greatest guys that I will ever meet. Also, you know, played under arguably one of the greatest coaches of all time, Andy Reid. You know, learned a lot under a lot of great guys. So my first 4 years were great, man. I got a chance to play with the greatest. I feel like the greatest tight end of all time, Travis Kelce. You know, Big Zeus. You know, so it was great, man. First 4 years were great. Then Patrick Mahomes came in and just changed everything around. You know, the young phenom, different, throwing the ball at about 85 yards, crazy. You know, so changed game, crazy, man. So the team out. We went to the 2 Super Bowls. We won 1. You know, just like Drew said, we went to, I believe, 3 AFC championships or 4. You know, so it was great. It was great, man. Everything inside the building was great. You know, so now I have no complaints.
Now, I need you to be candid. I need honesty from you or Drew, because if it was so great, what happened to last year to now we sitting in Miami?
Money. I can't hear it.
Want to answer that first, or you want me to get into it? Because I got
questions that need answers.
Yeah, let me answer it. So frankly, guys,
I want you to start with hold on, Drew. I want you to start with all the texts I sent after every week, though. Like every week, I used to text you. So I want you to start with that.
There was a lot of times during the year that we felt that Tyreek was underutilized and wasn't fully appreciated, and that they really weren't taking full advantage of all of his ability and talent. But Tyreek's a trooper. He never made a peep about it. He
never went to the media.
Extremely professional, but Tyreek was a real champion and handled it, but it was frustrating.
I just gotta say, there's a reason that you didn't hear a peep out of Tyreek, and that reason was he did not have financial security. He wanted the money, and I'll give him this: he has more control over the timing of his mouth than AB does. He knew he had to be a model citizen because of his past. He knew he had to be a model citizen on this team. He knew that his payday was coming up, and without the security of that guaranteed money, he had to be a model citizen given his past. Whatever part of it was true or not true, it doesn't matter. It was all associated with him, and he had to be a model citizen. That's why we didn't hear about this. And so I don't understand like what he thinks right here he's getting out of admitting, hey, I was texting Drew every single week, and hey, I had issues every single week, but I wasn't talking about it. But guess what? You're talking about it now just as openly. You just don't have the in-season drama.
This is the part about it. He was talking about it inside the building. He just wasn't talking about it to reporters. He had certain people, and the Chiefs saw it. It already kind of leaked out a little bit that they saw him leaning towards Diva, and they had already made the decision that this is probably where we're going to cap him. And then the Devontae Adams thing happened. But I'll keep going. I got more.
Yeah, I mean, that's
best friend from work is in the chat with us, Sarah.
awesome. Hi, Sarah. Take care of Aaron for us, will you?
She does. She has my back.
Gooch, you're probably completely right, but I'll say this. I don't know why he thinks that it would make any difference, right? Like, in a way, it's more cowardly to be talking about this now than to not share your feelings with Andy and Eric and Travis and Pat while you're there with them. You're separated from them now, and now is when you open your mouth. I think that's more cowardly and not something to be celebrated, which he seems to think it should be here.
On many occasions, after a number of games, Tyreek and I would communicate, and it was frustrating that he wasn't given a chance to do more to help the team in their efforts to win games.
Right.
And Tyreek's a very unselfish player.
Correct.
And is the consummate team player. But there were a lot of things during this season that just felt like there wasn't the same commitment to him. And, we got through the year. Tyreek wound up having another All-Pro year and made another historical season and had an epic postseason as well.
Mm-hmm.
And once the season was
I was wanting Matt to elaborate on this comment. Liz has probably been asleep since like 8. She was struggling to stay awake on my lunch break. So what do you need a mod father slap for? Or are you saying the mod father should be slapped? Oh, I guess it's just one I don't know of.
Sorry, I just want to point this out, and I know it's been talked a lot about, but Tyreek had 159 targets in 2021, so it's really crazy for them to talk about usage. That was 24 targets from 2020. So, I mean, and part of that, was health, because he was always missing a game here or there. So
He's talking about the 5 games where he had less than 5 catches because everybody was throwing that too high shell out, and they were busy trying to figure out how to beat it while still utilizing Tyreek.
right.
But and I kind of want to point this out with his underutilized.
Bubble screens.
Patrick Mahomes threw the ball over 600 times last year. Almost 20% of his throws went to Tyreek.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the ball spread around more.
The only time that he was under 100 catches was the year that he got hurt in the Jacksonville game and was out there his first 4 games, and he ended with 87.
You're talking about receptions or targets?
Talking about receptions, he had 80.
No, this last year was the first season he had 100 or more receptions.
But he had 111 targets, is what I mean. Like, his receptions kept going up, except for the year that he got hurt. Either way, Mahomes threw the ball so many times, 20 to 25% every year was to Tyreek. So
That's not underutilizing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, he had 61 in 16 games in 2016. 75 in 15 games in 2017, 87
this year,
87 in 16 games in 2018.
that
Then
was
he had
Mahomes' first year.
58 in 12 games 2009, 87 in 15 games in 2020, and then 111 this last year. So yeah, definitely a huge uptick there. So, and it should be said that in 24 more receptions, he actually had 37 less yards. And so that just goes back to what Gooch was saying about the way defenses were playing us. But if you have an overinflated sense of self and value, you would of course think that you just need to get the ball more. Shall we roll on, guys?
Holly's asking our thoughts on the unfavorably slender Frank Clark photo.
Oh, hey, Holly, he was bound to lose weight after they took his guns and ammo.
You should see some of the pictures that Steve's made of him.
I haven't made a picture in a year, but I haven't actually seen them. I'll have to go look at them myself. But yeah, it would probably be really disappointing if he was anywhere near that weight. But I would hope that the Chiefs had micromanaged him a little bit more to make sure that that's not the case. That would be my thoughts.
The Chiefs, and we said, hey, we want to keep it going. Tyreek wanted to be there. Tyreek wanted to be in Kansas City.
That's you say that again. Tyreek wanted to be in KC.
Tyreek wanted to be in Kansas City.
Wanted to be in KC.
We tried to do an extension with them.
Tried, man.
So I got a follow-up question on that. All right. So this wasn't a situation that you demanded a crazy amount of money, right?
No,
this was a situation where you know what you're capable of. Drew knows what you're capable of.
Correct.
The team knows what you're capable of, but they just didn't utilize you. Now follow up on that.
Right.
Do you think this was a situation to suppress his stats, to drop that value down when it came to
All right, now this is the part we all saw in the teaser, so I'm really interested in what the actual answer that Drew and Tyreek give here is.
Potential trade or signing.
So when the season ended, just to get to your question, we went to the team and we basically said, hey, Tyreek did a contract after his third year. He's outplayed that deal. But we were really far apart on the numbers. We felt strongly that Tyreek was the best receiver in football.
Right.
Now, let's be clear. When he says Tyreek outplayed those numbers, there's a bit of truth to that. But what he's really saying is Tyreek didn't get any more trouble during or after that contract. That's what he's really saying, right? I mean, we all know, maybe people outside of Kansas City don't, but I don't think that's the case. That's what he's really saying is Tyreek didn't get in any trouble. So Chiefs got a value contract because Tyreek was in a place with his personal life where that was the contract he had to accept.
If he wanted to be in Kansas City, he still would be.
Right. And I wasn't even going to touch on that, but I still find it like a year ago, he bought a house where? Miami.
Paid that way. They were very complimentary of Tyreek, but they were not prepared to make him the highest paid receiver in football.
Exactly. But Drew.
And then what happened was the Devontae Adams deal got done. And I called Tyreek and I said, look, here's a guy that is older than you, isn't as accomplished in my mind as you in terms of all the things that Tyreek can do with the football and away from the football, his ability to stretch defense and get teams and open things up for Kelsey. And when Adams got the huge deal, I spoke to Tyreek and we both agreed that we were going to put the pressure on the Chiefs, that they were either going to do a deal like that or it wasn't a great fit anymore because the respect isn't mutual if you don't see it that way. And I talked to Brett Veach, the team GM, and I outlined the deal that Adams got and that it should be a no-brainer for them to do that deal for us.
Right.
And if they didn't want to do that type of deal, then we would get them a blockbuster trade. I flat out told them that I felt like I could talk to teams around the league and bring great compensation. And I think the Chiefs initially wanted to challenge us and see what we could get from other teams contractually and what we could also get.
Crazy, right? But we haven't even reached the crazy
compensation
part. We haven't even reached
right?
the crazy part yet. The crazy part. Hold on, Drew. Pause. I'm finna pause you. Crazy part is I talked to Patrick Mahomes. I talked to Andy Reid, right? For 30 minutes, for like 30 minutes or so. Right. I talked to both of them on the phone. I'm like, hey, coach, yo, like, I don't even got to be the highest paid for real. Right. I just want to be put in like a realistic position that's like realistic for me and my family, right?
You want to be compensated for your talent.
Exactly. I don't got to get 30 million. I at least give me 25.
Right.
Okay. So he talked to Andy. First of all, what Drew is forgetting is that he went to the Chiefs and said Devontae Adams' contract is the floor for Tyreek Hill. Not we wanted to get a deal similar to that. It was the floor now because in negotiations because Devontae got it. And now Tyreek is saying, oh, I went to Andy and Pat Mahomes who don't do contracts.
Right.
Can I just get 25? But your agent is still screaming 30 plus.
Yeah.
So what this is you trying to see, and this is the whole thing that I was going to get to. We call people like this, what's the word? I want to use crap stirs, spin doctors. You know what I'm saying? What he doesn't want the fans to know because he doesn't want to be disliked is, they offered me an average of 30 million a year, which if you look at the contract, it's really not 30 million a year. It's more like 26, 27. But I took the money, even though the Chiefs could have gave him 23 average and then probably would have re-signed him again if he'd have stayed.
If you want to stay here and win, you'll stay here and win. And you'll take, I don't even have to be the highest paid. Bull. That's complete BS.
I just wanted to get that
there's
in.
No way. And why is he talking to Mahomes? And
I don't need to be the highest paid. Your agent says you do. And that's who's doing all your contract negotiations. So you didn't want to be the highest paid. You could have came out like you came out with this and been like, I don't want to be the highest paid.
And the Chiefs did them a favor by letting them go and talk to other teams.
Yeah, because they could have franchised Tyreek 2 years in a row.
Exactly.
And ran him ragged and then traded.
And if they were in Gooch, maybe I'm more petty on this than you, but if I'd been Brett Veach and all this had taken place like this, I would have taken the Jets offer. I would have said, have fun in New York, have fun with Zach Wilson, have fun in the cold, have fun, 1,000 miles plus from where your house is. I would have said all these things and traded him.
Have fun with the highest state tax, income tax.
Right? I would have just said, have fun at it. Like, the fact that the Chiefs took that, let him, basically let it be up to him whether he wanted to go to Miami or New York. Like, I think that speaks volumes about Veach.
Exactly.
But it doesn't make sense to me. Like, are you playing good cop, bad cop? Like, is Drew trying to be the one that sounds like he was asking for everything and Tyreek was begging the team to keep him at $23-25 million? Please, Patrick. Please, Travis. Please, Andy. Have Veach give me $25 million a year. And Drew saying, we're starting at least 30, so which is it? That's all I got. It doesn't make sense. Somebody's lying.
No. Yeah.
I got too much Judge Judy in me for this.
The guy on this camera is lying.
What's
her phrase? Don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining.
26, right? They wouldn't even giving the numbers weren't
So
even close to that.
completely ignore the fact that you're taking 2 and 3 defenders across the field to make way for Kelsey to have these historical numbers.
Completely, man. It's crazy how the business
Oh,
works, man. But
now you're
like I
responsible
say,
for Kelsey's
I
numbers.
tried my best. I talked to the big man, Andy Reid.
Yeah, they've been saying that the whole time.
Here's all I got to say.
He spreads the defense to where everybody else can get touches.
I believe it was the Bills playoff game, right? The
So he's
13 seconds game. Who was it who told Tyreek how to run his route to get open? He didn't just get open because of his speed. It was Travis saying, hey, do this, run this way and then that way. Travis, not Tyreek. It was Travis. Travis was his wide receiver coach, not Joe Blameyer. Travis was his brains, not himself. Sorry, I'm done.
Right.
I talked to the quarterback. I'm like, look, can we make something happen?
Right.
Can we make something happen? Can the guarantee money make sense to me?
Right.
Can it make sense to my
Yeah,
family,
you know what
please?
was fascinating was we were really deep in trade.
Who needs 30 mil a year? You and your family do not need that. Ugh.
Talks with the Dolphins and the Jets,
Right.
and it looked like a deal was close. And then Andy Reid got involved and spoke with Tyreek and asked Tyreek flat out, "Do you want to be here?" And Tyreek said, "Yeah."
I flat out said
And
yes.
Tyreek flat out told
Flat
Reid,
out said yes, I
if
wanna
you
be
can- Tyreek, you really tried, you know, and I think Andy wanted you to be there. And
I don't believe it.
you know, ultimately the teams are.
I don't believe it. Andy would have made some effort. But we got to pay other people. It's not like we have all the cap space in the world.
You know, yeah, I don't get that part. If it's true, and I'm not saying that it's not true. If Andy asked him, I feel like there's something else there, right? It wasn't just Andy, you know, they got to that point and Andy said, do you want to be here? I feel like there would have been something else with it, like another offer that, you know, tried to get a little bit closer that still wasn't good enough for Tyreek.
He only said yes, and that was that.
Yeah, I mean, there's something missing there. If Andy really asked that, there had to be something that followed that. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense.
The thing that doesn't make sense, and this is the part that you're kind of missing out, and I know I'm taking a long time with my reactions, and I'm sorry. The thing is that this is where the disconnect is. Drew is saying 30. Tyreek is calling and saying, give me 25. Now, Andy can go to Veach and say, Tyreek is asking for 25. Can we get close to that? And then Veach is turning around saying, well, his agent, who I deal with, is telling me the floor is 30. So even if I was Andy Reid, I would turn around and be like, yo, do you want to be here? It's like playing mother against father and trying to see how you're going to get your way. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's when Andy calls and goes, do you want to be here? You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't, we'll let you go. If you do, then let's have some good faith negotiations. Because right now, this is schoolyard BS.
Obviously, they didn't care for him to be here as far as Tyreek and his agent.
And for the nonsense that he got Travis his yards. Travis got 1,000 yards on a whole lot less targets and receptions.
They would not have allowed them to start contacting other teams and all this if all Tyreek said was yes.
Yeah, and you know, the thing is, Gooch, he would have had, Travis would have had even more yards, not because of Tyreek, but if penalties had been called properly, because there was a lot of contact after 5 yards on Travis, and even the legal contact within the first 5 yards, he was just getting beat up. He was getting beat up like Michael Jordan in the playoffs against the Pistons in the late 80s, early 90s. And so, you know, without those two things, I mean, Travis would have went off even more because he understands defenses and how to create space. But yeah, I'm with you guys. And Holly, you might be completely right, simply because there could have been a lot, like Gooch said, that was going on in the locker room that they saw. And, you know, the reality is I think a lot of us feel that Pat not locking onto a receiver and spreading it around is a lot more healthy for the offense. And if he was getting 20 to 25% of the looks, you know, and what did I say, 150 some targets, and that wasn't enough for him. And we saw all the drops he had, all the tips. He had at least the 3 tipped interceptions that we had on our video here. And I don't know if some of that, some of that mental stuff was feeding into that. But it seemed to me that whatever he was focused on in the offseason, he should have been focused on his hands a lot more, because there was a huge, in my opinion, drop in talent from Tyreek in his hands. Gooch would say he never had that talent, but
yeah, he doesn't have that talent. But also another reason why I kind of semi-agree with Holly is I think he was showing diva tendencies in the locker room. But also, remember, people, Andy Reid had the dream team. So if he saw it coming a second time around, he probably was ready to cut bait. You don't want to make the same mistake twice. Tyreek ran for the money. The bottom line is Tyreek ran for the money. And he that's for later. He's going to say that later. So I won't spoil it. Okay.
Offer just was millions of dollars short on the guaranteed compensation, and that's just, you know, in this world, you cannot. Tyreek's got children. It's hard to walk away from millions and millions of dollars.
Right.
Heaven forbid.
You know, quite frankly, Tyreek had a record-setting career. He'll go down as the all-time great Chiefs receiver. He had.
What did you say, Gooch?
I said, yeah, the difference between 25 and 30 is really going to kill his kids. And The stupid thing is he was one of the Chiefs' great receivers. If he'd have stayed another half a season, he would have been the greatest Chiefs wide receiver. Number one in all those records.
yeah, I think I shared a stat with you where if Tyreek had stayed another season or so and we'd made the playoffs like we normally do, that Tyreek and Travis both would have been like top 5 overall in receiving yards in playoff history.
And now he's with the Dolphins, who are lucky to make the playoffs.
Did a lot for them, but obviously they did not value him to the same extent that Miami and the Jets did. And when Miami offered and all those draft picks, I guess the Chiefs looked at it and said, you know, we had a great run with Tyreek, and we've got a lot of high-priced players on the team,
business.
You know, and they got a record amount of compensation. It's the most I've ever seen.
So look, check this out.
To a team for a player.
So look, check this out. If they don't value you,
it's not 3 first-round picks.
Is that what he said?
He said they got a record amount of compensation from Miami. No.
We had a great run with Tyreek, and we've got a lot of high-priced players on the team.
Business.
You know, and they got a record amount of compensation. It's the most I've ever seen.
So look, check this out.
To a team for a player.
So look.
Off the top of my head, I would think that maybe the Ricky Williams trade right? Isn't that the big one that we all just like historically remember?
Well, it seems like Percy Harvin trade was also like 3 first-round picks.
Yeah, I don't
We
know.
it was not even close to record breaking.
It was what? It was a first,
The first, a second,
a, f- a f- I don't even remember now. A fourth and a sixth next year. First, second, and fourth this year. Is that what it was?
I believe so.
Check this out. If they don't value you in in like money wise, right?
Right.
But then like let's say I'm Brett Veach. Brett Veach was like, okay, we don't see you as $25 million receiver, but we're gonna try to get as many picks as we can up out of you. They literally try to get like how many picks they got, Drew? About 5 picks.
Yeah, they did get
Crazy,
5.
which is crazy.
Yep. They got 3 this
they
year,
value
2
you.
next
They
year.
valued me more than Devontae Adams, but they didn't want to pay me like Devontae Adams though. Crazy,
They
right?
value
His agent. His agent is telling him what Veach is saying, but he's twisting the words. There is no way Veach said we don't see you as $25 million receiver. No.
Well, I mean, if Tyreek's telling the truth, he asked if he could get 25 million, but I think the bigger thing is of course they didn't see him as equal to Devontae. And anyone who's watched Gooch and I go at it on the huddle would know that I was much more optimistic on Tyreek's ability to maintain a semblance of his speed as he ages. But the reality is Devontae does some crucial things a lot better than Tyreek does. And so if I was Veach, I wouldn't look at them the same either. And that's not a slight to Tyreek. It's just being realistic about the most unicorn aspect of Tyreek is his speed and his acceleration. And that's eventually going to go at some point. Now, the other thing is
I think
Miami wants
to.
What's that?
I think it's already starting to.
I mean, we've seen it on some end rounds where he used to be able to break the corner, and now he gets like 5 or 6 yards and he runs out of bounds and avoids contact. So you might be right there. I just thought
he
that
keeps
there was
up.
Right. I just thought his quads and his hamstrings, he's had some injuries there. But I figured, his speed would start to go back up. But I mean, we'll see. But I don't know. I guess we'll see.
And exactly, Sarah. Tyreek wanted to go.
Yeah, I believe that 100%. I mean,
if he wanted to stay, they would have kept him. They wouldn't have.
You knew the Chiefs cap
him,
situation,
right? And they wouldn't have let him talk to other teams.
It's not the biggest haul ever. Keyshawn Johnson was traded for 2 first-round picks in the same year. So was Jay Cutler. So was Ricky Williams. The biggest draft haul was Minnesota when they traded Herschel Walker to the Cowboys. They got Minnesota's first, second, third-round pick in 1990, first, second, third-round pick in 91, first, second, third-round pick in 92.
Oh, good Lord. So this is how are you going to say that about this deal? Oh, my God. That's 3 years worth of first, second, third?
Yep, just for Herschel Walker.
And then Percy Harvin, I know there was a big deal on him. I think it was just first, second, third, but that's still better than what we got.
Right now, he's trying to talk his way out of the fact that he's going to have a crap year in Miami.
Yeah. Oh, but 2 is more accurate.
Yeah, so Gooch had the Herschel Walker trade. The Ricky Williams trade was definitely bigger as well. The Saints traded their first, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh round picks in the 1999 draft, and their first and third round picks from the 2000 draft to the Washington Redskins.
What about Reggie Bush? Seems like there was a big deal done for him too.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Let's.
I like that band.
I can look it up.
The Spin Doctors. But yeah, they're just trying to paint him in a better light, and hopefully everybody knows it's BS.
Yeah, this so far we're what? We're a little over halfway through, and this it's been kind of a weird feeling, right? We start out with Drew just like complimenting the heck out of Tyreek, and then we have this deep. Tyreek asks him that question, and we wondered why was he asking this question, which we then saw why he was setting up that Tyreek is a deep philosophical thinker, or at least what it was Larry King or whoever that he was quoting, and then they got into this deep conversation briefly before we get into all this. It's just kind of a weird feeling. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
They value your talent and your skill enough to get that from someone else, but not to actually give it to you for your
Exactly, man. Crazy
that's
how the
backwards.
business is. It's backwards, right?
So
I said the same thing.
So let me ask you this: was there ever a situation throughout this last season where I know Drew stated earlier that you didn't feel like they game planned for you more, right? Throughout the season,
Man,
does any
look.
game in particular stick out that you feel like? I know you by now. You feel like you could have made a change in every game.
I could have made.
It don't matter if
change
you lose by
every
100. You like
game.
you'd have threw me the ball. I would have won that game.
Exactly, man.
Is there one game that sticks out where you just feel like
Baltimore Ravens? I had 3 catches for 14 yards. Crazy, right? The week before,
how many targets on that?
I have no idea. Probably like 3 targets, maybe. You can look up the targets, man. Week 1, I went for 189,
Yeah.
and we won the game. Come on,
Yeah.
man. I just don't get it. Like if teams are going to give us favorable one-on-one matches against their best corner, I don't see why teams don't utilize their best receiver.
Right.
You know, and that's where like probably me and the Chiefs fell apart right there when I'm like, yo, like I don't mean to talk or be a diva in some situations, but hey, can I
So now he's talking
see the
crap
peel
on Horton.
sometimes, please?
Yeah, just give me the ball.
Just give me the ball, please.
So I just want to make
sometimes, man.
sure all the listeners know your
it.
decision was not based upon solely the 30 million.
No.
It was.
How is that logical?
Of course, I got to take care of my family.
What's that?
How is that logical that they should utilize their best receiver more? Then everybody keys on them constantly. You got to have some kind of surprise, or people will just double and triple cover you.
And I feel like the defense was already keyed
The
on that.
shells? Yes.
And when Pat was forcing the ball to him with very good passes, again, as I put in the video, right, Tyreek was not catching them. He was tipping them for interceptions.
Exactly.
I don't get it. But I'm gonna look up the targets here to see. I would think if you knew how many receptions you had in that game, that you should know how many targets you had in that game. So good job to the co-host for asking that very pertinent follow-up question. Yeah, Tyreek had 4 targets. So he had 3 receptions, 4 targets for 14 yards. I'm not sure what happened, but he had a really bad PFF grade in that game. So without going back to watch the tape, like I wouldn't know like what the context is there, but those 3 receptions were 4.7 yards per reception average. So I don't know, Gooch, maybe you have something to add on there.
How long?
Gotta take care of my
But it was
family.
more.
What's that?
How long is it until he's talking crap on Tua?
Well, I mean, he can do it because he's got 72 million guaranteed. So what are they going to do?
What they have in the past and eat a bunch of dead cap. He's going to be Mike Wallace.
Well, they can cut him after year 4, I believe. So he might hold his tongue
like
for.
Mike Wallace.
What's that?
That'd be just like Mike Wallace.
I think that's exactly what happens.
I looked at his targets. He had a few games where they were under 5, but it doesn't explain the 18 targets, 13 receptions for 94 yards against the Giants, Mr. Best Receiver. If I throw Devontae 18, I throw at Devontae 18 times and he catches 13 of them, that's 5 touchdowns and a whole lot of yards.
But Tyreek just runs out of bounds or goes down.
I'm telling you, like Matthew, business decisions.
Yeah, that's what it kind of seemed like.
I can't wait to see how crappy he does.
I actually bought NFL Field Pass and all that crap this year, and I added Miami to my list of games that I want to watch.
Hey, it could be a really fun
be
offense.
hilarious.
It really could. I've thought Miami was going to do better each of the last 2 or 3 years than they have, and so
It's
I have no clue anymore.
Like the last 10. But they're a 500-ish team.
It's called cash over cap, Holly.
Oh,
This is going to be hilarious.
again, I'd have to go back and actually look at the tape for each game because I don't think you can just make a blanket statement like that. And I mean, we don't know. Early in the season, they might have noticed that teams were bracketing Tyreek and playing that really deep too high, and their thought might have been, hey, we need to get McColl and some of these other guys flowing and going. I don't know.
And then every time he's not in the offense, we seem to be spreading it and doing better, moving it down the field.
That's why I'm optimistic about this season.
I think we go back to the first year Mahomes started, and he's spreading it all over.
Do you guys think this puts a lot of pressure on Tua? Because if Tyreek doesn't get as many targets this season and more receptions, like his numbers with Tua have to increase, right? Otherwise, it completely destroys his argument for leaving Kansas City.
I don't see how it's anywhere near what he did in Kansas City.
And Tua has to have a 76% or higher completion percentage because that's what Mahomes has been averaging, about between 73 and 75.
He's got to show great accuracy with no look throws, and he's got to show accuracy on a large volume of deep throws as well.
I'm with Stephen A. Stay off the weed. Duh.
I saw that. That was great.
So the disrespect you felt throughout the negotiation
It
process.
was a lot of things that played into. It was a lot of things that played into me leaving the Kansas City Chiefs. Like right before the season, I had a long talk with Andy Reid about my granddad having surgery,
Right.
which is crazy. And I told him, I'm like, Coach, look, it's gonna be some days that I'm gonna be missing. You know what I'm saying? Because I got to fly back to Georgia to make sure my granddad is all right. My granddad, he had prostate cancer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it was a lot of things that transpired. With me leaving the Chiefs. They didn't even want me to leave to go see my granddad. And
What's that?
His agent has to be feeding him something, and because he's filling his head with something. There's no way they're disrespecting him.
Yeah, I mean, does this sound like Andy Reid to anybody?
No. This is his agent filling his head with crap that didn't actually happen.
I mean, either he's lying about the request or the reaction to the request. Like, was there a lot more to the request? Like, he was wanting to be gone basically every day but game day. Like this is another one of those moments where it doesn't add up in my mind where you're peeing on my leg and you're telling me it's raining.
Exactly.
Hey, Wink, welcome in. Maybe you've been here for a while. I don't know.
Good to see you, Wink.
he was having surgery,
Right.
prostate surgery.
Right.
And I'm
I
like,
remember.
yo, like this is like ridiculous,
Right.
you know? And now like I'm with the Dolphins. I tell coach, like, coach, I'm gone. He's like, all right, cool. Just go do things.
So this is not a shot at anybody. Let's,
No,
let's
not a
just
shot
be
at
clear. This is not
anybody,
a
man.
shot at
It's
anybody.
a
but
shot
this
at
just needs to be
everybody.
said,
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Right? And I'm wondering how, what's his name? Is it Mike McDaniel or is it Mike McDaniels with an S? Because right now, the things that I've heard out of Dolphins camp, I don't know if this guy's going to be able to rein in a locker room, but we'll see. I'm rooting for him. I'm not rooting against him. I'm not trying to talk down to him.
Nah, I just tell coach, I gotta go, and he's like, cool, just go ahead and leave and disrupt the harmony of the locker room because I'm gonna let you do whatever you want to.
Yeah, Gooch, I don't know about you guys, but this takes me back to all my high school athletic teams, and we had 2 or 3 guys in my grade that were just uber athletic, and they did whatever they wanted, and, we were desperate for athletes, so, they could do whatever they want, and they got to stay on the team. To me, it sounds like Tyreek's going to run this Dolphins team, but we'll see.
I love Andy Reid.
Bingo.
I love Patrick Mahomes.
Bingo.
My brother forever. I just seen him at F1, by the way. Love Travis Kelce. I love all my teammates.
But you just had to answer the questions that all of the fans are asking. Some of the media pundits, they went out, oh, he's going to regret this trade. He did it for money. He did it for money. They work for money, so I don't see what the problem is.
I just don't
Every day
understand.
they go to the media, they go on the news, they work for money. Everybody going to go to work. You want to be paid.
I just want people to understand that I went for 150 with Matt Moore as my quarterback. I love you, Matt Moore. Versus the Minnesota Vikings. If you don't remember that game, 150 and 1 touchdown with Matt Moore as my quarterback. So Tua.
So what you trying to say?
And Tua T is 10 Matt Moores. I love
trying
Matt
to say?
Moore, but Tua T is 10 Matt Moores. Let's get technical right now, man.
I was just gonna
Shout out to
jump
Matt
in
Moore,
and
by the
tell
way.
you guys that
Sure.
Who was the head coach and whose offensive system was Matt Moore playing in?
Right.
And how does that compare historically to a first-time head coach's offensive system?
And I remember Kelsey getting open more than he did.
the trade made.
And wait a minute, I don't even remember what year this was. Was this when Jamal Charles was still with the Chiefs, or was this when Kareem Hunt was with the Chiefs? Like, how far back are we going? Who? Does anybody know?
It would have been the year that Mahomes had his kneecap dislocated.
Yeah, it was the kneecap thing.
Okay.
And then it was Detroit,
Yeah,
or was it Green Bay?
it was Green Bay after that.
Okay.
A lot of sense on a lot of levels because you really want to be a part of the organization that values you the most.
Exactly.
And, Tyreek got basically the full guarantee on the first 3 years of his contract. That's very rare in the NFL, and the Dolphins were willing to make NFL history, and they wanted to build the franchise around Tyreek, and that's really exciting to.
What was Devontae's contract? Did he get 3 full years guaranteed as well? Just kind of thinking out loud
I
here.
ever checked it out.
Just thinking out loud here, but yeah, I'm sure that, and part of it was what were the Jets offering? Like, he's trying to make it sound like, and I mean, it would bolster his case if both teams were, but still, I mean, it's not like, it was just the Dolphins. But certainly that money means a lot more in Florida without an income tax versus New York with one. So,
To go to a team that's in a beautiful city like Miami and South Florida, and it's a great place to live. It's close to Tyreek's family. We talked about
Right.
Tyreek's love for his family, his children, and
Right.
his parents and his grandparents. What a neat opportunity for him.
Have fun.
To geographically go to the South and
in the cold.
play for a team that really wanted to make him the face of the franchise. And, That's not the case in Kansas City. Mahomes is the face of the franchise, and
Yeah.
and in Miami, Tyreek's profile has picked up tremendously. This trade, we could have signed the same contract with the Chiefs, but there wouldn't be the same amount of notoriety and commitment.
But what's crazy is I don't care about notoriety, though. I don't care about none of that, man. I'm from South Georgia, dog. Only thing I care about.
Yep.
Wait, so I mean that sounds kind of confusing, right? They could have signed the same contract. Like, I'm assuming here he's saying that if the Chiefs had offered it, but it sure sounds like what Drew's saying is if the Chiefs offered the same contract, Drew would have been pushing Tyreek to still sign with the Dolphins because he would have gotten a lot more notoriety. He'd be the face of the team, as opposed to in Kansas City where no one's going to be bigger than Pat, and you're probably not even bigger than Travis if you're being realistic.
Right.
Heck, I mean, with this team, you might not even be bigger than the offensive line, giving, Chiefs and our rich history and our fan history of offensive linemen.
He should be utilized more, but he doesn't want the notoriety. What? That's all he's wanted the whole time is notoriety.
What were you going to say, Gooch? You speechless, Gooch? I thought he was going to say something.
I was. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Now
I can
we
hear you
can.
now.
Devontae's first 3 years are guaranteed at 65.5 million, and then the Raiders can get out of it with a $7 million dead cap money. But like next year, 43 of his next year in March, 43 million of that is guaranteed.
Yeah, and Tyreek's number I think is 72 million
Yeah.
guaranteed, and part of that is I think it's only like 40 or 50 million guaranteed like the first 2 years, but the third year is guaranteed like off season of the second year or something, and with as much as they gave him guaranteed in a signing bonus, if they didn't pick that up, then that would be like I think 15 million in dead cap right there in signing bonus.
So the Raiders were smart with theirs because they can get out of it with 7 million dead cap. They gave him 22.5 at signing. He gets 43 next year, and then he gets another 20 in year 3, and then they can get out of it. I mean, it's. I hate to give some shine to the Raiders. It's a really good contract, especially if you cut him the 4th year after June 1st. It's $3.5 million over the next 2 seasons, and with the way the cap is ballooning, that's a smart contract.
And what are the chances he's still performing?
High.
Talking about Tyreek or Devontae?
Devontae is high.
I'd say so. I mean, look at Anquan Golden.
3 more
He was like, what, 38?
He was a freak, though.
I guarantee you that Devontae lasts longer than Tyreek because Tyreek utilizes his speed, and yes, he's a freak athlete, but you're 28, bro. Eventually, you're going to have to learn how to play receiver because your speed isn't going to be able to run away from people.
I agree with you there. How
He's
old is Devontae?
29.
So, yeah, I think he could be cut after 3 years. He could still be doing great, but there's a good chance he's not.
Hey, Sarah, I don't know you, but the Tony Gonzalez trade still hurts my soul, man. And it still kills me.
Sarah's my friend from work.
All right, we ready to continue, guys?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Is respect within the building. Notoriety outside the building, I don't care about none of that, man, because none of that ain't gonna win us games on Sunday.
Point.
You know what I'm saying? Like Patrick, Kelsey, they can have all of that. They can have all of that. But look, this is what I want.
So, again, we kind of had this, good cop, bad cop thing where Drew says, hey, he's going to have a lot more notoriety in Miami, which is probably the truth, right? And then Tyreek, almost insecure, starts to say, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! It's not about that." It's like
Is
He's
because
full of it.
Drew even said Tyreek's not going to be the face of the franchise. Mahomes is. Yeah. Yeah. In every NFL city, the quarterback is, unless you're Baltimore and you've got Ray Lewis again, the quarterback is the face of your franchise. That's why they're all pretty much pretty boys.
yeah, if your quarterback's not the face of your franchise,
You're doing something wrong.
you're probably not going to win a whole lot of games. I mean, there are teams where it's probably the case, right?
Yeah.
Zach Wilson with the Jets. Oh man, I just blinked on his name with the Giants.
Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson is a pretty boy. Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones.
Right. I mean, like when you think Giants, do you think Daniel Jones or do you think Saquon?
I think Saquon.
Right.
But he's hurt a lot.
He's still the best player on their team. Hurt.
I mean, same thing with the Panthers, though. When you think Panthers, do you think? Let's see, who's their quarterback now?
McCaffrey for sure.
Right. You think McCaffrey?
Sam Donald. Well. Until the next week or two, then you'll be thinking Baker Mayfield because he's going to be a Panther. I told you, Keys.
We'll see.
Is something actually being talked about?
Yeah, the Panthers are pushing the Browns to trade him.
I can't see that happening until all stuff is taken care of.
Well, here's the thing. Right. Baker Mayfield's money is guaranteed. So the Browns could come to him and be like, hey, we want you to start for us. And Baker can say, no, thanks, I'll sit at home. And there's really nothing you can do about it. You're going to have to trade him. Might as well do it while they're offering something.
We'll see. I'm sure that there is a way that they can work out a happy ending for everybody.
Hey, Night Hunter, I just want to answer Night Hunter's question real quick. I think just one, and it was Megatron. That's all I can really think.
Yeah. And that's a team that has kind of been that way, right? It was Barry Sanders before Megatron. So
Yeah. I really think that's the only one. Because when you think of all the other great receivers, they've had quarterbacks that were above average. So I think Megatron's the only one where you go Minnesota, Brett Favre, or Dante Culpepper, Detroit, Megatron, Green Bay, Favre and Rodgers, Chicago.
And Megatron,
Well,
man, that was sad. He could have been. He pulled a Michael Jordan and retired early. I thought he was going to come back,
Moss,
Jordan, but it didn't happen.
Moss had Dante Culpepper, and then he went to the Raiders, and he had Tyrod. Went to New England. You had Brady. Went to Tennessee. You had was it Vince Young then?
Man, I have no idea. But was Culpepper really the face over Randy Moss?
No, that would have been Chris Carter probably. No, that probably would have been what's the guy? Defensive Randolph? No. You know what I'm talking about. As a defensive lineman, he would have been the face of that team. Randall, yeah. Randall would have been the face of that team.
So it sounds to me like, when, and I don't know from personal experience, I didn't have to worry about this like in the dating world. Gooch, maybe you can answer this. You know how like you have your wingman, right? And you don't want to come off as, actually, I don't think Gooch would mind coming off as fully arrogant, but you want to come off somewhat humbly And so, you know, your wingman builds you up and says all the things that you really want to say to the girl. So then you can just, you know, you can fake that humility. That's like what I'm getting from Drew and Tyreek. Like, Drew is saying what Tyreek believes, but knows that it wouldn't sound right if he said it. Am I wrong on that? Is that what you guys are getting from this whole good cop, bad cop routine?
I completely agree.
I was going to say, I'm with you there, except for the fact that I don't use a wingman simply because I feel like the truth is far too much fun. So I'm just going to say what I say anyway.
Speaking of
inside
fun,
the building, I want the head coach to know that on Sundays that defenses fear Tyreek Hill. That's what I want the head coach to know. And the head coach do know that though. He know that without the cheat on the field, he know that, hey, Pat, you're gonna have a long day today. You know what I'm saying? Pat, he heck of a quarterback, hell of a player. I love him to death, but come on, man. Sometimes I just want people to just be like, hey, Tyreek, like him. You know what I'm saying?
So Drew, your trend.
that's what we were like when he was tipping those passes that were thrown right to him for interceptions.
Have a good night, Sarah. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah.
He just said he didn't want the notoriety. But then in this last sentence right here said, Pat's a hell of a quarterback, but I just want people to sometimes be like, yo, him.
Exactly.
Yo, him. So which is it? You lying piece of... Wait, we're live.
He's been contradicting himself the whole time.
I'm sure it gets better.
And Rosenhaus is just completely lying. Is my opinion.
Transition. I know you went to law school, right? No, you got a JD.
Yes.
How did you become the most feared agent in this game? Like, you're like the boogeyman. You're John Wick.
So
of
yeah,
the agency. If they need you to kill a deal, they bring you in. If they can't get it done, bring Drew Rosenhaus in. He's gonna get it done.
Bro, it was because of Any Given Sunday. He was on Any Given Sunday. You know that, right?
He got LT the $1 million. You got LT the $1 million.
He got LL Cool J.
Yeah,
LL
I
Cool
love
J
it,
$1 million.
guys. Yeah, you know what? My background is I was really brought up to be an agent. I'll explain. When I was a kid, we lived right down the street from the Dolphins training facility, and my father, Robert, he became very friendly with a lot of the Dolphin players, and they'd come hang out at our house, they'd eat dinner. I'd sit around with these guys when I was a young man, maybe 10, 11 years, 12 years old, and I listened to them talk about their injuries and their playing time and, you know, their contracts and their agents and getting cut and traded. And
that's something
so
like
I saw a different side of the NFL that you wouldn't ordinarily see, and I wanted to be an agent. I fell in love with the guys that would hang out at the house, and I thought they were the greatest, and I wanted to do the same thing. And when I went to college, I went to Miami from 1984 to 1987. They won 2 national championships, and they had some of the greatest players of all time, Michael Irvin. And
say that again.
Another reason to send him to Miami. That's his actual team.
Does anybody else think it's weird that Tyreek bought a house on the same block as his agent who lives in the same city, for the team that he's playing for? And I mean, I'm not a real big conspiracy guy, but I smell something.
I didn't know it was the same block, but yeah.
Yeah, he's like 2 doors down from what I hear.
Good Lord.
Okay.
Yes, Vernon Kosar and so many great Hurricanes, and I went to school with these guys, and I decided that I was going to be friends with them like my dad was friends with the Dolphin guys, and so they come hang out, and they just became like brothers to me. And when I went away to law school at Duke, I got an opportunity to intern for an agent that was representing a lot of the guys.
More confirmation that my thumbnail was correct. He went to Duke. Duke are the Blue Devils.
That I went to school with, including Michael Irvin. And that's how I broke in the business. The love of my friends became my clients. It's something that I had prepared for since I was a young man. And while I was in law school, I had, the passion as a 22-year-old, the youngest agent, to
Let me just say that the parent in me is really disturbed with that. That's like back when Gooch was a kid. That's the seatbelt, right? Mama's arms. Sorry. As a dad, that's where my eyes go.
right by my friends and people I consider to be family.
So it's not.
And every year it just grew and grew, and so I think I put, it's easy. I put my clients first before my relationship with the teams. You do what it
And your
takes
family,
to
obviously.
make sure that your clients are treated right and are getting the what they deserve and beyond. And that's your job as an agent. I believe in that fiercely.
So
What, Aaron?
His family's safety means nothing, though.
Yeah, and I say my wife is a saint, but she's trying to keep kids in a car, both quiet. Well, I can't say safe, but yeah, imagine that.
Well, don't have 8 kids, man. She is a saint.
I was
trying-
really going to get morbid there for a second, but I'm going to leave it alone.
This
So it's
time.
not about the money ultimately at the end of the day. I know a lot of people outside looking in, they think, oh, it's just about the money. It's just about the money. But from what I'm getting from you, Drew, is that it's actually about the art of winning, right?
The art of winning,
to
man.
assisting
Legacy.
your clients in being able to secure their financial future moving forward and take care of their family,
Right.
and to be compensated for their value on the field.
Absolutely. Well said. So, Tyreek will tell you when Tyreek signed his contract and we got the trade done, he could see the joy that we had for him and his family. And
I think he cried more than me, man.
it's the greatest feeling in the world to be partners with Tyreek and our clients and help them maximize their potential and take care of their families and get what they deserve and beyond. That's the love of the business that I have, seeing the guys succeed and being a part of that and helping them and helping their families is way bigger than the checks that we get. I could have just, been a lawyer, but, I went to Duke for law school and all these guys were going to law firms and they thought I was crazy to just represent these players as a young man. And
What, Aaron?
He just put his lawyer down. I could have just been a lawyer, but
Right. I could have been like you, Julius Collins.
but I'm better than that. It's all about the money. Don't feed me this crap. This guy is a politician.
you know what? I believed in that
So-
was important and
So Drew,
and something that I loved. And that's what counts to me.
So Drew, I got a question for you. Where do you see the NFL in about 5 to 10 years, as far as business side, players, the whole CBA thing? Where do
I
see
think the
league
NFL
going?
is in a great place right now, Tyreek and Julius. The NFL has never been more popular. The TV ratings are through the roof. We had the greatest games
The cap is
in
going
a
up. I know
season
that.
last year. The playoffs were great. The NFL's overseas.
But
The
it's not
NFL's
about the
in
money.
Germany and England and Mexico. And, the NFL's expanding
Yeah.
worldwide. The
Yeah.
NFL's got deals now with streaming services like Apple and obviously Amazon. And I mean, it's just very exciting to see the relationships that they're developing in non-traditional revenue, like gambling.
Oh,
The NFL's caught up with the times, and they're making partners and taking advantage of that revenue stream. I just feel like the NFL is in a great place, and the future's never been brighter. And that's exciting. I think the one thing I'd really like to see improve in the NFL is just more diversity
what
among
do you mean
head
by that?
coaches,
Oh,
among ownership and the general managers. We've got to develop a league that the ownership, the front office, and the head coaches and the play callers are more representative of what you see on the playing field.
Well, I'm gonna tell you like
Drew
this,
for
Drew.
commissioner.
So what I'm gathering from this part is Drew's trying to lay his case. All right, he said to him, Tyreek said it too. Drew's joy is when his clients get paid. And now they're laying the case that Drew is an all-around good guy, a Robin Hood, a Caped Crusader out to have the best.
Hurts on my side.
To have the best for his clients, his players, and now he just wants the best for everybody else who needs someone to fight for them. Is that what you guys just heard?
Yep. He's a politician.
Well, luckily
Hey,
for
look
me,
at me. I want everything to be diverse.
luckily for me, I have a very strong BS detector thanks to my siblings.
It's absolutely what it is.
Drew, I'm gonna tell you like
It's not about the money, he says. Hey, Drew, where do you see the NFL? Well, the NFL is getting more popular, and Tyreek under his breath, cap is going up. I know that.
Exactly. But it's not about the money.
To be fair, and this is about as balanced as I can be on this. To be fair, I know that there's an extent when players say that, and we kind of had this discussion when we were talking about Tyron, right? Like players see teams valuing them through money. Like that is the main respect language, if you want to put it that way, to borrow from like the whole 5 love languages concept. It's like there are a lot of players that's like their respect language. So they can say it's not about the money because it's not physically about the money. It's about you offering them the money and showing that you respect them. Which, I mean,
point.
it ultimately makes it about the money, but, you know,
We respect you enough. This is what the Chiefs were telling them. We respect you enough to make you one of the top 5 highest paid wide receivers while keeping you on a team that we're going to consistently do everything in our possible to make runs at Super Bowls. So you'll be on a constant winner.
But you got to take a little bit of a...
All you have to do is sacrifice $5 to $6 million a year.
Right.
So you can have other players. Plus, you got a $500 million man on your team.
I mean, who technically had his contract fixed so that if everybody took less money, everybody could have stayed together. He even said it. I'm taking less, so this person will take less. Travis Kelce, it's not about being the top paid tight end or top paid wide receiver. What I'm interested in is my legacy. When I leave the Chiefs, he's going to be considered probably the greatest tight end of all time.
Was that not a shot at Tyreek when he said that, though?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I would think so, but you know what? The way that Tyreek's been taking shots at them, I mean, you know, it seems like when going back to when Tyreek was talking about going back to Pat and you know, trying to somehow, you know, get Pat on his side or whatever. I don't know.
I'm with Knight. I hate bringing this up, but Brady restructured his contract every year to keep people on that team because he wanted to win.
Yep.
And everybody in New England knew, and it's not like Belichick did shady deals. Everybody in New England knew you were going to take less money if Tom was taking less money, but the opportunity to win would always be there.
Right, but
Tyreek
I mean,
isn't willing to do that.
To be fair, you know, Tom's wife makes more money than he does, so there's an extent, you know, like there's
By a lot.
I mean, he could do that,
That
but he still did it, right?
You know the amount of money, on top of the fact that they have retirement plans for these guys, so they get paid after they retire if they have so many years in the league. But do you know the kind of cachet and the kind of money you can make just by signing autographs from being a Super Bowl champion, Hall of Famer. Like
Right.
it's not like the money stops when the
Right.
career is over.
I'm
Yeah,
sure
we've
Jerry
got a
Rice has
football for
made more
sale.
money since retiring than he ever made in his career. Just with like appearances and like he still gets his name. EA Sport, when Madden puts out a new Madden and they use Jerry Rice, in their stuff, he still sees that money, and he probably gets a lot more money than a lot of these other receivers do. So I don't think it's unrealistic to say that Jerry Rice probably makes more money since retiring because of his legacy
Oh yeah.
than he made during his career, and probably even for players like Joe Montana. And we've already seen that if you're one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, you can make a lot more money announcing games every season than you can having to get physically hit and put, all these months in to play the game. So,
Right. But he'd have to be around his family or something.
and so, yeah, I think you're right. Like, giving up your legacy, for immediate money, that's what an agent would want you to do. And that's what a short-sighted player would do. Someone who maybe isn't as confident as they should be on the legacy that, that they could have after the game. Because like I said, like he and Travis, I think Travis is number 5 right now, if I recall correctly. Tyreek was like 7 or 8. He was definitely within the top 10 of all-time receiving yards in the playoffs. And, 3, if he played out his contract here, 3-4 more years, like they could have been right there in the top 2 or 3 together. And that would have been huge for their legacy. But, then people would have been throwing out, well, was it Mahomes? Was it Travis? And he wants to make sure whatever he does moving forward, and he's getting compensated a lot for it, that it was Tyreek.
I was gonna hit on this Michael Jordan
Right.
comment that it's billions now. He makes billions off the shoes. Just the shoes. But he's got his hands in all kinds of stuff. And he's got the Michael Jordan restaurant. That's kind of his home away from home.
So the co-host is a lawyer, and not once has he yelled objection, hearsay. Sorry, guys, that's my bad attempt at humor at 2 a.m. But regardless, like, he's listening to all this BS, and as a lawyer, they have strong BS detectors as well.
Like this, man. As far as my experience in the NFL, it's all about who you know. You know what I'm saying? So if you know an owner, if you know a GM, obviously they're gonna pick their favorite head coach, or somebody that they coach with or was on staff with in the past. So that's
Exactly.
That's all I got to say about that topic.
Right.
But
Now let's switch gears, all right? You go from
Now, is that kind of like living 2 or 3 doors down from your agent? If we're going to stay on this topic, and I don't want to get political here, but why didn't Tyreek pick a black agent? Why did he pick Drew? Why didn't he pick a non-white agent as his way of, trying to help diversity in the NFL? Like Orlando Brown, we talked about.
Yeah, that's what I was.
He went out and got an agent that had never had an NFL client before, and now that guy has an NFL client.
If you only pick Drew Rosenhaus if you're trying to max out your income. If you go back and look at baseball contracts, Drew Rosenhaus is the agent for every single record-breaking baseball contract that's been put out in the last 10 years. Drew Rosenhaus is the name.
You mean football?
No, baseball. Bro.
Baseball would be Scott Boras.
No, okay, yeah. Football, you're right.
Yeah, those are the 2 heavy hitters, Scott Boras in baseball, Drew Rosenhaus in football. But my thought came back to me. I was kind of wondering, Tyreek talked about going to Mahomes, and going to Andy, as if they were going to get him a contract, a new contract. do you think that's part of the reason he's throwing shade at Pat now? You know, like in his mind, Pat had to be thinking, oh man, you know, I got to have Tyreek or my life is going to be horrible. You know, Pat's going to be in Veach's ears and make sure that I get, you know, a huge contract, maybe even bigger than the Dolphins. And then, you know, if this conversation took place like he says it did, and then, you know, nothing materializes, you know, Pat doesn't go to bat for him and say, hey, I absolutely have to have Tyreek. And now that's part of where we're getting some of the shade that Tyreek is throwing. You know, is it because he was expecting Pat to go to bat for him? And so, you know, since that didn't happen, now there's a little bit of bitterness. And that's where we get some of these conversations here about, you know, I made Pat's life easier, and you know I expected my coach to see that. I expected my quarterback to see that. So you know we'll see how things go now.
My thought is that Pat would have said, "I took less money and I left you some on the table, but in order for us to keep going the way we are, you got to take a bit of a hit." And instead of Pat just placating him like what they're trying to do now with getting into the politics of the NFL.
I mean, it is kind of hard though, because with Tyreek's age, and you look at, you know, you got to think about it. We haven't seen the cap jump up like we've expected it to the last 2 or 3 years. And each time that, you know, we've had an optimistic projection, it's come back to bite our team. So if you're Brett Veach, how do you structure that deal, you know, to where it makes sense, to where if the cap doesn't jump up how you're expecting it to, you don't get screwed, but at the same time, you're not guaranteeing, you know, like to do that, you almost have to kind of middle or backload it. But with a player like Tyreek, whose game is so much predicated on speed, that's a huge risk to have a lot of guaranteed money, or, you know, like he's going to want in year 3 and year 4. So, like, if you're Brett Veach, you know, what are you supposed to do?
Right.
From KC, Cole. Now, I know you love beach volleyball, so I know Miami is prime real estate for you, right?
Prime real estate, man.
You in the 305.
Yep.
How has that transition been? I know the season hasn't started, but just that atmosphere of going from Kansas City to the 305.
Oh, it's been great, man. You know, believe this or not, I feel like the same values hold inside the locker room with the Miami Dolphins as far as like brotherhood. Mm-hmm. You know, coaches being close, players being close, and everything else. Tua has been a great quarterback to play with. You know, Jalen Waddle has been everything that everyone has said. Fast, explosive, great guy outside of playing football. So it's been fun, man. So, I mean, I'm very excited for the football season. I'm excited to see where this team will go, which I know this team will go very far because, man, I've had a chance to see Tua throw the ball to myself. But, man,
that's the next question.
Like, he's a –
So this premiered June 10th, but we all saw the teaser in May. So he had what? Maybe 2 months between the trade and the filming of this, maybe. So everything he's saying is predicated off of 2 months of experience. Just
if that.
Just thinking out loud here, throwing some context to what he says.
He's that dude, bro. Like what a lot of people don't know. Like I'm not just sitting here I'm not just sitting here just saying this because he's my quarterback now. And
you're not gonna give it to your tears, are you?
Nah,
that's
bro,
my quarterback.
Like
we're not gonna get that.
I'm not trying to get more targets right now, but what I'm trying to say is Tua is that deal, bro.
He has an arm.
He has a heck of an arm, bro. He's accurate. He can throw the deep ball, and he actually goes through his reads. What people are like on Twitter are like saying, "Oh, he doesn't go through his reads."
Auburn is better than Alabama.
One time every 20 years.
Never. And I don't want to hear that blasphemy ever again.
I said it for one reason. I just wanted to say that so people could understand that you're an Alabama fan. So now, Gooch, that we got that out of the way, You give them your scouting report on Tua since you are a diehard Bama fan.
Tua is accurate in between 5 and 15 yards, 5 and 12. He is injury prone, and as long as he doesn't have to throw more than 5 balls downfield, yes, he can throw the ball downfield. But his percentage is predicated, his deep ball completion percentage is predicated on wide open receivers. If he throws 50-50 balls up in the air for the receiver to jump up and get, 80% of the time the defender is coming down with the ball. Now, in the middle of the field, you won't find anybody accurate. Out routes, 10 yards or less, yep, perfect. But once you started trying to make him extend the ball, he doesn't have that kind of arm. Not that kind of accuracy with it anyway.
Bam! Look what Matt said.
Oh.
We can't go down that hole. We can't go down that hole.
You better watch your mouth.
We'll have to get in on a different show.
Man, this dude, that dude. So
do you think it's just a comparison issue? You know, the media pundits, we've seen a lot of people talking about Tyreek. He's going to regret this trade. He's going to a quarterback who doesn't have an arm. He's this, he's that.
I'm gonna tell you like this, man.
How do you deal with that? Like, that's your quarterback. I know you're not going to give us the TO tears, right? I know you're not. But how do you deal with that? I know that's your quarterback. You got to protect him.
By lying on a podcast.
But I know you said he got an arm.
Right.
Who got the strongest arm? Tua or Pat Mahomes?
Tua or Patrick Mahomes?
Listen, this guy's a fool for even asking this question.
No kidding.
Well, obviously, like I'm gonna go with 1.5 as the strongest arm, but as far as accuracy wise, I'm going with Tua all day.
So which one would you rather have? The deep ball?
Who is not as
scramble
accurate
around the field
as
to try to go.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Patrick can throw his no-look passes just as accurate, if not more accurate, than Tua can throw his 5 or 10 yard looking passes. But that's just me.
No, it's proven. Tua is not as accurate as Patrick Mahomes. The percentages don't add up. But I digress.
Find it. Or do you want that accuracy to hit you right in the bread basket on the run?
I want it to hit me right in the bread basket, just like I did in the Buffalo Bills game, and take it 70. And the rest is history.
And again, this is not.
I think with his hands, I think what he wants is someone who throws the ball softer.
I could see that.
I think that's what he really wants, is someone who's going to throw it softer. And, yeah. We'll see.
Not a shot at anybody.
Right.
This is just stuff that had to be said.
It needed to be said.
It
so
needed
let's
to be
say it.
said because at the end of the day, everybody wants to know. The media, they killed Tua.
They killed
right?
him. They destroyed
But you
him.
at practice with him.
Right.
You love the deep ball.
I love the deep ball. But guess what though? Guess what though? Guess what? I done expanded my game.
Right.
So now I'm doing a lot more than just a deep ball now. I'm doing intermediate routes. I'm doing short routes. So now I actually need a guy who can just get me the ball now and on a dagger route, on a corner route, on a shallow cross route. You know, right now, right in my chest. So now I can do the rest. I make you look good now.
So defense is about to get chopped up this season.
Defense is about to get chopped up.
They've been getting chopped
They've
up.
been getting chopped up, man. But look, once you got Mike McDaniel calling plays, Jalen Waddle, Raheem Mostert, Chase Edmonds, you got Cheetah on this side, and you got Mike G right here on the tight end. Come on, man. Tua spinning the ball. Right. It don't get no better than that.
I know you're a humble guy.
Right.
I know that. I tell you that all the time. Like, Bert, sometimes toot your own horn. What does it feel like coming from the middle of nowhere, Atkinson County, Pearson, Georgia, to being the highest, not even the highest, the number one receiver in the NFL? I know it was your dream to get to the NFL, but what does that truly feel like, that reality? When did it set in?
Sometimes, man, it don't even set in, man. It probably won't set in with me till I'm about 40, man, because right now I'm chasing a dream. Like, a lot of people look at me and say, oh, he chasing the money, man, but for real, this shit about legacy for me. Like, I got too much pride in this game, dog. Right. I refuse to let another man embarrass me. I refuse to go out each and every Sunday and let my team down, dog, because I love this game so much.
It's going to happen.
He said it's about legacy. Nobody wanted to comment? I thought someone would say something for sure. It's about legacy.
you know, and I'm gonna do everything that it takes within my body to lay it out on the field each and every Sunday for my quarterback, for my team, for my brothers, and
That's
just for
why
this
you go
organization,
down
man. Because
or
I
go
love
out.
this game so much, dog. So
You
Yeah.
an infamous TikToker. You love TikTok. I get
yeah.
TikToks from you all the times at night. 2 a.m. You might get a TikTok from
Oh,
Tyreek.
yeah.
right?
I love TikTok, man.
Will the fans in Miami see the infamous Dolphin dance? You with the Dolphins now. Will they get it?
Oh no, man, nah. That's not my thing, man.
Not anymore.
I don't know now. Depending on, hey, I got some crazy for my.
Their-
I got some crazy for.
What's that?
Have you ever heard their like victory dance, victory song?
I don't think they played it since the
It's god
70s, have they?
I don't know. It's god awful though. They try to make dolphin noises.
For my first touchdown dance, though, you know, Scarface was, he had a crib here, I think, right? Scarface had a crib here, Drew.
Are you going Tony Montana?
Going Tony,
Oh, man,
going
you got-
Tony Montana. Okay, Tony Montana, man. So
Drew.
Yeah.
hey, Drew, one more question, man.
Yes.
Before we let you go, man, let's transition to you catching a bull shark last week.
Yeah.
How did that feel, and why did you do something white? Okay, I'm gonna get canceled now.
You know
I
what?
just didn't know what to say.
Tyreek almost went on this trip. With,
No, I did not almost go on this trip. I did not, guys. So let's not get that.
You didn't want to jump in and grab a bull shark?
I told Tyreek that I would do something crazy like that, and I just wanted to keep my commitment. So, Connor Williams, Tyreek's good friend and teammate,
Don't be taking
the
my teammate
offensive
out there.
lineman. Connor fought a bull shark, a 7-foot bull shark. Got him to the boat. We were going to tag him, release him. And I said to the captain, I love sharks. I've swam with bull sharks before. Are you okay with me jumping in and swimming with that bull shark? And he said, that's crazy. You're a nut to do it. They're one of the most dangerous sharks in the water, and you don't know what else is swimming around that bull shark. But
So, Drew, did you sign a waiver? Did you like
No.
what's going on here? What if
no.
what if you would have got
Yeah, no.
eaten by a shark? Would you could you sue? Could you what's going on?
I think once you get
Julius,
on those deep sea fishing boats, it's pretty much you're at your own risk because anything can
okay.
happen on those boats, you know. But it was really I've had a lot of experience swimming with sharks, guys. It's let's just say it's a hobby of mine, and
I'm
that
biting
bull
my
shark
tongue.
was beautiful. I jumped in. I was able to grab his tail and swim right up with him. And we tagged. It was actually her. We tagged and released her, so the environmentalists, can keep up with her and track her. And
So, Drew,
they're
you
beautiful animals, and
It's an
it
idiot.
was a lot of fun to experience that.
So, Drew, how do you
My
tell?
daughter
How do you tell if a shark is a girl or a boy?
how I knew it was a her.
How do you tell if it's a girl or a boy?
So we're back to the whole. Let's remind everyone that that Drew Rosenhaus is an actual person, right?
Daddy, how'd you know?
See,
My daughter's asking, how did I know? it was a
everybody
female
wants to know.
everybody wants to know this.
And-
We even asking.
Right. If it's a girl, shouldn't it be a cow shark, not a bull shark?
All right, that might have been pretty.
What was that?
a bad joke.
What was that, Gooch?
That might have been pretty good.
Drew's a marine biologist at night or something.
Actually, the captain told me it was a female, so I can't take credit for it. But the captain's an experienced fisherman, so that's the answer to that question. But
Wow.
I'll
I got
tell
a
you guys this, and it was a lot of fun. And Tyreek, we'll have to do that another time.
As long as it
You'll
doesn't
have to
involve
come
me
fishing
diving
with
into
and
the
we'll
water.
jump in with the sharks.
Yeah, that's insane.
See,
that's
that's
insane.
insane.
Like, how do you position yourself to say, I'm gonna jump in in the water with the shark,
with a shark.
and then just have a casual conversation with us like she was friendly, and we're best friends now.
Bro, do you know
Attack
that?
this shark.
What kind of NFL GM or head coach is going to hear this and say, "Yeah, that's what I want one of my players doing, is jumping in with dangerous sharks"?
Do you know that
And
bull
everything's
shark?
The ones that have the most kills and bites on humans.
okay.
Bull sharks are the Mark Henrys of sharks. You know, Mark Henry is the
Yeah.
wrestler, big
Yeah.
black wrestler. Bull
Right.
sharks have that much testosterone in their body.
And Drew tamed it and
And
became
Drew-
best friends with one of them.
Drew playing
Shark Tales. Shark Tales all over
It's a
again.
different breed, man.
No, that's
Different
amazing,
breed.
Drew. That's amazing.
But Drew, man, I just want to say,
I want to thank you guys for having me on.
Oh, yeah.
Julius, I know you're a great lawyer, but now I know you're also a great
co-host.
co-host.
He's
look,
the man.
look, I gotta match his energy, man. I tell people, they be like, "Where are you at today?" I say, "Wherever the boss man calls me." Like we have to keep up. I think we were saying earlier, most people
Yeah.
get 24 hours in a day. We get 48.
48 hours.
We get 48, and we make it happen.
That's how we live, man. Sorry,
You know what's
Drew.
great about your show is that you really get to learn about Tyreek and see what goes on. You know, really with the type of person that he is, and
That's why
I think
it needed to be
this
said,
is
Drew.
what's great. You know, you get to see the person,
Mm.
and Tyreek's a wonderful guy, and you are too, Julius. I'm glad I could come on with you guys, and good luck with the show, and look forward to seeing you both soon.
Drew, thank you so much for joining. It needed to be said. If you could, let us know the best up-and-coming podcast in the world, please.
You've got to join host Tyreek Hill and Julius Collins. It needed to be said. The very best.
Thank you so much, Drew.
Appreciate you,
Continue
brother.
on your long drive. It looks like you've been driving for hours now.
He has been.
So make sure baby girl put on a seatbelt
For sure.
because Julius is not playing.
You got to put on those safety belts, man. We don't want you to
I
get in a
appreciate
ticket,
you
man.
both. I will see you guys soon.
All right, love, Drew. Appreciate you. So, man, look, you got the craziest contract right now, right?
Right.
And now you starting the hottest podcast in the land, right?
Yes.
It needed to be said.
Right.
What does that mean to you? Like, what kind of guests would you have? But first, what does it mean? It needed to be said. Like, you got a lot on your chest.
Right.
You just got to get it off.
Right. I just want to be that athlete that plays football. Well, that active football player that has a platform that's just not scared to say anything, right?
Right.
You know, because there are a lot of people who are, you know, just literally just scared to say anything and just everything and just be a part of the cancel culture, right? So I just want to be that athlete that says, you know what, I'm going to live life. I'm going to do what I want to. And basically it just needed to be said.
Right.
You know, just to get it out there. And just as far as the people who we are going to have on the show, just anybody, you know, politicians, athletes,
People who keeping it real.
people who are going to keep
Not
it
afraid of the
1,000.
cancel culture, not afraid of biting that. They don't want to bite that tongue. My mom always told me, don't bite your tongue. It hurts, right?
Right.
It starts to bleed. So if you got something to say it, find a way to say it, but be completely honest about it.
You-
Don't sugarcoat it.
Bro, who I really want to come on this show though is Ben Crump.
That would be your ideal guest.
That would be my ideal guest, bro.
Why would you want Ben Crump on the show?
I just want to see y'all go at it.
But nah, Ben, my boy though, man. Like I know Ben personally.
Ben Crump, man, funny shaped head. I just want to see how his head look in person for real. But yeah, Ben Crump is a attorney.
Yeah, he's civil rights attorney.
Civil rights
out of
attorney.
Tallahassee, man. I mean, he's done so much. I don't know if you seen Marshall with Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
He's actually in it. At the end, he has Trayvon Martin parents in the movie as well.
He's in that movie.
He's in the movie at the very end. So he's doing everything. His
Exactly
hands
right.
in a lot of things right now. And he's great at what he does, right?
So yeah, that's definitely my ideal guest, Ben Crump, man. Him, Ben Crump, or
Any Miami legends you would want to bring on. I mean, you in the 305, man.
Trick Daddy,
TWD.
TWD, Trick Daddy.
TWD, Uncle Luke.
Man, look, we gotta
What?
get some 90s hip hop up here.
Hey, Steve.
Somebody, man.
Let's make
Yeah.
I sent you a message on Twitter.
Okay.
That is their fight song.
Okay. I'll check it out.
Oh, I was gonna see if you could play it. It could be after this gets over.
I'll try to see if I can think of a way to.
Make it happen,
it's
man. And
pretty
we
hilarious.
just be completely honest with them. Straight, no chasing. And it needs to be said. Say what's on your mind.
Exactly.
Be blunt and be honest.
Exactly. All right, guys. Thank you so much for just being a part of us today, for just watching us. You can find us on all streaming platforms: YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and soon on
care.
iTunes.
You're dead to me after this.
Yeah, I think that's probably enough there. So yeah, this was. I know Gooch. I know Gooch said he listened to a lot of this already, but for Aaron and me, this was completely and utterly new, other than just like the teaser trailer and like a couple 20-30 second clips that we or I'd seen on Twitter and then sent to Aaron.
I didn't even watch the teaser, whatever. I don't think. But yeah,
Gooch,
we actually have a signed football from Tyreek that we would like to sell now.
Yeah, I believe I already asked you this, but are you going to drop the price on it?
No. I might start contacting Miami fans, even though it's a Chiefs football.
Well,
no,
if you
gotta
decide
make
to
money off of it,
if you decide to sell it, and you let me know the location and the time, and I'll try to intercept it. I'm done.
I like
with
what
jokes.
you did there.
I'm done with jokes.
That was better than the other dad joke, though.
Well, that was just a factual. No. Yeah, Knight said, Matt said it was his first time hearing it too, and
okay.
And Wink. Yeah.
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 That
yeah.
makes sense.
Although the irony there, Wink, is it really sounds like Tyreek is the one who can't let the Chiefs go. And I would be surprised the way things have sounded so far if the Chiefs don't come up in conversation again, like probably multiple episodes.
We'll be laughing later on about them. and their fight song.
Yeah, you keep talking. I'll see if I can figure out a way to pull it up here.
Okay. And yeah, I'm guessing Gooch fell asleep on us.
Gooch, did you fall asleep?
Nope, I'm still here, guys.
Not yet. Where are you tonight, Gooch?
Good old Brooklyn.
Back to New York, huh?
Land of sirens and lights.
Okay.
Yeah, just give me a second. I think I can do it here.
I'm good with that, Matt. How many interceptions is Tua going to get this year? Then how many are caused by Hill? Except he throws a softer ball, so maybe he's more likely to catch it and then go down before somebody hits him or run out of bounds. That drove Liz nuts every time he caught the ball. She was getting angry. So 15 or more for Matt. Huh. I'm going to put the over-under at 13. And I would go over. That's my guess. We could actually check that out. What are the odds on Tua?
Yeah, I would be surprised with Tyreek and Jalen Waddle's speed if teams didn't play the Dolphins, I don't want to say similarly, because they wouldn't have to play the two deep like they were playing against the Chiefs. Like there were games where like the safeties were 20, 25 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, like pre-snap. And I don't think that Tua's arm's strong enough that you would have to worry about it like that. And so I wonder though if they don't play too high, and then they kind of do the same thing where they have 7 or 8 in zone with that 8th player being kind of a spy. And if the Dolphins don't have to have a short game that just like, bam, hike the ball within a second and a half, bam, and let one of them catch a drag or a slant and try to do their damage that way. Or, the wide receiver screens, kind of the Debo stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so how many are caused by Hill this year, Matt? Yeah, I'm getting tired. Miami's always had good running backs. They should run the ball some.
All right, here we go. I think this should work.
I could see that. Wow. Matt and Wink are on the same page. Matt said this, and then right then, Wink put in 3.5 over under.
Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl, 'cause we're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins #1. Yes, we're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins #1.
Not it.
What's that?
That's not it.
That's what you sent me.
Yes.
I don't know what
They do dolphin noises.
I don't know what that was, but that
was awful.
I don't know about you guys, but when I think of Miami, I definitely think of banjo, right?
Absolutely.
Well, the people can Google it themselves. I'll have to look it up myself as well. But,
What'd you say? Sorry, I was looking at another one.
I said everyone will just have to look it up themselves.
My neighbor told me about it, and they actually did it. And they did the dolphin noises. They could barely get through it without laughing, though.
Wink wants Tyreek to make a TikTok dance to that.
Wink wants who?
Tyreek to make a TikTok dance to that song. Tyreek, that's our challenge to you. We want to see that TikTok. Guys, we've been live for 2.5 hours now. That was a lot of fun. If you got any questions here as we wrap up, I think we're all just about spent.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how bad it is for him.
I mean, I don't know who in the Chiefs locker room watched it, but I can't imagine that the core Chiefs players had a great taste in there. And maybe they're not surprised because Gooch, as Gooch said, they were hearing it in the locker room. Who knows?
That could very well be.
It certainly lends itself to some of the things we saw in the season that just felt disjointed, and like something was definitely wrong at times with the offense. And so and I'm not going to say that it's all Tyreek, but some of it might be making more sense now. Wink, I guarantee you, you want to hear that, then if you're an RGR member, you're going to get that as part of the Huddle anniversary, the extended cut. The
Good
public,
Lord.
the public is going to get to see a little bit the clean side of it on RGR on the Huddle, but
There's not much of a clean side.
Ryan said, "Give me what you got. We'll put it up for the members." And so I think
My wife got involved. If you guys need any,
I think we had a good hour-long, I don't want to say argument because it was a lot.
it was 6 hours.
It
What
was
are
a
you
lot
talking
stronger
about?
than argument. We might have been, some of us might have been screaming.
You. If you want to see Stevie get worked up,
Yeah, you want to see me get worked up, have Gooch think he's right when he's wrong, and we're talking about something, and my partner starts drinking Kool-Aid, and I get really confused. No, I'm kidding. We're not going to do this tonight.
we did 5 to 6 hours on Orlando Brown. You will see quite a bit of it.
It wasn't 5 It was a good hour, though. I swear it was. Just on Orlando. But, well, I've thrown out to Gooch the idea that we take some topics that we usually argue and we flip-flop it, and then we have to argue the other person's side of it. So maybe that's one that we can do.
I'm more the mediator.
You were on my side, though, during this. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. Yeah, you were kind of in the middle. Some of the other guests, I can't give it away, but I feel like the other guests were fully on my side on this one.
It's a matter of when and how much, and all of us want a deal. But yeah.
Yeah, I think overall what it shows
is on both sides.
Is you can have differing opinions and still be friends.
Oh, yeah, we're all great friends. We're really close. But we like to drive each other nuts, too.
Yep, I know Gooch's buttons, and he probably knows some of mine. And Aaron, do you have buttons?
Of course. Liz will dig at me.
All right. Anyway, guys, we appreciate you sticking with us as we did our response, having our real live reaction to listening to Tyreek's podcast. I'm not sure that much of that needed to be said. And so
this is probably my favorite video that we've done, though.
I don't know. It's kind of frustrating, though. I liked Tyreek as a player, and I stood up for him a lot, especially against Gooch at times. And so, I feel insulted on behalf of Andy and Pat and Travis, and really, I guess, just common sense, because, like I said, a lot of the stuff they said on that podcast wasn't adding up. And it isn't about the money, because Tyreek doesn't need to do a podcast. He has plenty of money. So why are you doing it, and why are you doing it now? It's
to
kind
make
of my
yourself
thing.
look better. That's all it is.
Like, whatever it is, like, he didn't have a podcast when he was with the Chiefs. He didn't care about saying something when he was with the Chiefs, and there's a reason for that. Maybe that was his past history. I don't know. But the Chiefs certainly took a chance on him and gave him his shot in the NFL.
Made him, stuck by him. He could have been off the team quick and easy.
Right.
He could have been out of the NFL.
Yeah, I'm there with you, Wink. I think that's a lot of the frustration. And I'm there with you too, Matt.
Hopefully everybody can tell. Not just Chiefs Nation, or Kingdom, but everyone.
Hey, Gooch, if you're there, you want to do the sign-off before we do our outro? Are you still awake? He said he was still awake. We're going to find out. Still awake.
Oh.
He just wasn't taking that Orlando Brown bait that Wink was throwing out.
I was not.
I got to put this back up, though. Because it is true. And I do ask for it.
Hey, guys, we appreciate you guys for staying up late with us. This is one of the things that we want to try and do regularly. As well as we've got other show ideas and stuff that we need to put out. So keep checking for us for that. We appreciate anybody that watches this content or RGR, because we're also over there, whether religiously or in passing. We want to continue to send prayers and thoughts to Daryl. He's the music for our intro and outro, and we appreciate him. We want to make sure his family's doing well. We want to make sure your family is doing well. Make sure you take the time out to tell somebody you love them. These two already know how I feel about them, even though they're jerks.
Generally.
We'll catch you in the next one. We appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
You got your team, and we got a kingdom. Ready for war, we score at will. We're the Super Bowl champs, the king of the hill.